Welcome to another Energon Universe discussion video. Void Rivals number 5 is out, giving us some tasty Energon Universe goodness to tide us over while we wait for the hotly anticipated second issue of Skybound's Transformers series. I gotta say, although the stories aren't directly connected, yet anyway, it's been nice having a second title in this universe. Really helps with the monthly wait for the new issues. I can't wait until Duke and Cobra Commander start rolling out monthly, because then we'll have at least 3 Energon Universe comics per month, maybe even 4, but that depends on if Void Rivals will be taking a break before continuing into its next arc with issue number 7. The prospect of spending more time in this universe on a monthly basis has definitely got me excited, so I'm ready for things to start ramping up in terms of publishing schedule. And speaking of ramping up, Void Rivals number 5 does its fair share of that. This issue finds Darak and Solila's reunion as cellmates cut short, as Darak is sedated and removed for questioning, or, torture, in other words. After Darak is removed, however, the cell door lingers open, allowing a trio of new characters to enter in a nice atmospheric panel that shows the 3 new characters emerging from the darkness. The world building and character intrigue continues with gusto in Void Rivals number 5, introducing us to Mistress Vil and the Keepers of the Light, some sort of mystical order of Zerta, one that Solila was a prominent member of before leaving them to become a Zertonian warrior, or at least that's what Solila believes. Mistress Vil claims that the order permitted her defection, and that everything Solila became after leaving the Keepers of Light was ordained and by design. The existence of the Keepers of the Light provides another layer of societal control being exerted over the populace of the Sacred Ring, although it remains to be seen if there is in fact anything divine or mystical underlying the Order's prophecies. Nevertheless, Vil tells Solila that her destiny is not to be executed as a traitor, but to go on to walk a path that no Zertonian has ever undertaken. To that end, Vil says it's necessary for Solila to have an artifact of power for her coming trials. The comic then cuts abruptly, as it did in issue number 4, to this month's Transformers content. I'm happy to say that the subplot involving the Skuxxoid does seem to be building towards something, and this issue finds him attempting to return his Quintesson prisoner to Quintessa, homeworld of the 5-faced Quintesson Judges. We meet one of these judges here, with the face of death addressing Skuxxoid at first. Then we get a cool 4-panel sequence to highlight the face swap feature of the character, showing us the faces of wisdom, war, wrath, and judgment. Or I guess it could be wit and doubt for these two, depending on what sources you want to go with, but you get the idea. We also learn that the giant scorpion from issue number 3 is a new creation for the Energon universe known as a Quintesson Scorpia. If you remember when I talked about that in the 3rd issue, I drew a comparison to the Quintesson squid from the 1986 animated movie, but stopped short of connecting the dots in terms of theorizing that it was actually something from Quintessa. I think this is pretty cool, as Robert Kirkman and Lorenzo de Felici clearly pulled the design elements of the squid for the design of the Scorpia in Void Rivals, based off the coloration down to the little red glowing port thingies. This particular Scorpia was supposed to be delivered to the fighting arenas on the planet Dominus, and Dominus, the disaster planet, has been referenced with some exclusive toy releases by Hasbro, but also seems to function as a Western name for Planet Master from the Japanese Generation 1 Headmasters cartoon, a series that I really only know in passing. I've only seen a couple episodes, just couldn't really get into it, but still, it's cool to see some deep cut references here. And with the Skuxxoid somewhat responsible for the damage done to the Scorpia during the battle in issue number 3, or at least being the only one present to take any of the blame, the Quintesson orders him to be seized by the Alicon guards and prepared for trial. The Skuxxoid begins pleading for his life, offering his services, his Rockoroid, and every ship in his possession, including the new Agorrian and Zertonian hybrid ship he received from Darak and Solila. That detail catches the attention of the Quintesson, who is given pause by the word Zertonian, and orders the Alicons to stop. So something about the Zertonians or the Zertonian metals on the ship is potentially important and valuable to the Quintessons, so like I said earlier, it seems like Kirkman is definitely going somewhere with all of this. Time will tell how long we have to wait. I feel like some interactions with the Quintessons are maybe coming on, or at least I hope so. Back on the Sacred Ring, Darak is tortured for 3 whole days, but never breaks, giving his torturer nothing but useless, superficial information. When he's left alone, Darak is rescued by a child named Ultim, who leads the Agorrians Agorrian to an underground resistance cell called the Unifiers, led by someone named Canella. The Unifiers aim to, in Canella's words, break this manufactured conflict between our people and bring the two halves of the sacred ring together. And the Unifiers want to work together with Darak to achieve that goal. Darak is incredulous and demands that the Unifiers free Solila, or else he won't cooperate. Canella ominously accuses Darak of having no idea who Solila really is. And the issue cuts with an image of Solila sitting in her cell alone, examining the object of power Vil gave to her, which kind of looks like one of those plastic tags they put on the keychain for motel keys. The symbols on this thing are kind of interesting, though. On one end, you've got a half circle merged with the point of a triangle, which seems like it could represent the Agorrians and Zertonians. Minister Doolin's communication device in issue number 4 had a holographic interface represented by a circle, whereas Premier Zalalax was a triangle. Not to mention that the Agorrian flight helmets are decorated with half circles, and, well, the Zertonians seem to use triangles in pretty much all of their decorating and design. The other end of the object features an asymmetrical shape, which reminds me of Darak's vision in issue number 2, where he saw the two forehead gems of the Agorrians and Zertonians merge together. So there's that, but then there's something else I thought of, and this might be more of a stretch, but these shapes also remind me of Darak and Solila's helmets specifically, with the symbol on one end being the general shape of Darak's, while the one on the other being somewhat evocative of Solila's kind of one-winged asymmetrical helmet shape. And like I said, I might be reaching here, but this recurring imagery seems important, and after the conversation with Mistress Vil, it seems likely that Darak and Solila could specifically be involved in whatever's happening in this big picture, however it's being orchestrated and manipulated. I'm at a loss with the arrow thing in the middle, though, but I'm sure we'll find out what it is eventually. So moving on ahead, Void Rivals number 5 is another solid entry in this nascent Energon universe. This series continues to get better and better as Kirkman fleshes out this universe, and it really feels like the pacing is ramping up right alongside the world building. It seems like we're catapulting towards some cliffhanger end-of-arc revelations. I, for one, am eager to see what they are. I'm excited to see how the Quintessons play into it, because it seems like they're going to eventually. On top of that, we also got a tease for the Junkions in the letters column of this issue, with Kirkman responding to a question that he can't imagine not seeing those characters in the Energon universe, which makes me a happy camper indeed. Personally, I love the psychedelic second act of the '86 animated movie, and the Quintessons and Junkions are a huge part of why. So the sooner we see them both, and the more involved they are, the better as far as I'm concerned. While the story is really picking up in some intriguing ways, Lorenzo de Felici's art continues to be top shelf. I especially like his work towards the end of the issue, where Darak is freed from captivity, with de Felici and new colorist Patricio Delpeche making use of stark black backgrounds and lighting to dramatic effect, creating a claustrophobic escape from the foreboding darkness of the Zertonian dungeon. Likewise, the world building underpinning the sacred ring is opening up nicely, with more intrigue and revelations appearing as more light is shed on this slice of the Energon universe. The conspiracy behind the sacred ring grows more complicated in this issue, and also proves to not be quite as much of a secret as initially thought, with the Unifier seemingly aware to some degree that the Agorrian-Zertonian conflict is manufactured. It's seeming more and more likely that the conspiracy and the prophecy are intertwined, so questions surrounding the legitimacy of the prophecy are bubbling to the surface. I can't help but wonder, is there anything real behind Darak's vision from issue number 2? Or is it all manipulation and theater, engineered by the Keepers of the Light or some as of yet unknown entity? And where do the Quintessons fit in? Needless to say, I am looking forward to issue number 6, where we'll no doubt receive more of the puzzle pieces of this sprawling and intricate world Kirkman and de Felici are building. But that's all from me. But what did you think of this issue? Are you excited to see what Kirkman and company are building towards with the Quintessons? Are you as curious as I am about Solila's past with the Keepers of the Light and her future regarding their prophecy? Let's hear about it in the comments. Hit the like button if you liked the video, and if you're new around here, hit the subscribe button so you can follow along with the Energon universe content as it's released, and feel free to check out my previous videos or playlists to get caught up on the prior issues. See you for Transformers number 2 in early November. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.